As he was set to go away, I never sneaked you all in. Swear you went was on touching. As fierce uprisings were put down, time after time inside the town. She celebrated every win by toasting all her troops in gin. Gin, 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 gin.
This is a collaboration between a cinematographer and a cook. It's an experiment on our part. We feel that nobody has really thought of older and single people when it comes to cooking for themselves. I hope you will learn something from me and enjoy it. It is cheaper, it is quicker, it is much more satisfactory. It's a good way to avoid loneliness. Invite your friends around and impress them with what you can do. We start with a couple of shallots, which are much milder and sweeter than onion. We add a couple of radishes, which give it some peppery quality, and also some nice, sweet, small tomatoes. What I always do is to marinate these vegetables first. So I will grind a bit of salt over them, not too much. We aren't supposed to eat too much salt. Pepper we can be quite generous with. Then the next thing we add to it is vinegar. This vinegar is cider vinegar made from apples. It's a very wholesome, bright vinegar. Almost all vinegars are 5% acidity. There are all these very expensive ones on the market, like balsamic and so on. If you want to just spend money, buy those. If you want a nice fresh salad, buy this. I will now add a small amount. Mix it up. It's all there. Now, my trick is to let it marinate. I will next cut the lettuce up and put it on top, but I will not season it. I can let this stand for 2 or 3 hours before serving, then add the olive oil and toss it again, and it has a very wonderful fresh taste, and that's the way I serve it. Now, I like lettuce cut fairly fine, which I think the French call chiffonade, because that way, when you're eating it, pieces don't fall off onto your shirt front. The little gems, which are always available now, are one of the nicest tasting, most delicious and fresh lettuces. They also are something you can braise if you wanted to cook them. Most lettuces won't cook. Now that's ready for the final dressing, which would be the olive oil. Now again, olive oil, which has been a common thing for about 6,000 years, has now also had a transformation. This bottle is labeled that way. It's called extra virgin olive oil. There were 2 kinds of basically olive oil. Olives that are pressed with the first pressing is called virgin olive oil. The second pressing is just olive oil. Where extra virgin came in, I don't know. But would somebody please describe to me what is an extra virgin? Now, in tossing it like this, the vinegar, the salt, and the pepper, and the olive oil have all amalgamated, and the salad is ready to serve. These are turkey breast steaks, a nice, inexpensive, fairly tasteless meat. but it works terribly well turning it into Schnitzel because veal is very hard to come by and expensive. Most of it isn't very good anymore. The first thing you do is pound it a bit to tenderize it, flatten it. The next thing is to dredge it in plain flour, then dip it in a beaten egg, dredge it in breadcrumbs, and then it's ready to fry. And then you've got Schnitzel. These are the ingredients for very rich, nut-filled chocolate brownies. Dark chocolate in there, cocoa, vanilla extract, butter, flour, 3 eggs, pecans and coconut, and sugar. This is the chocolate. We can either melt it over boiling water or, as I'm doing, in a microwave. In a microwave, you must be careful not to burn it. Take 1 minute. We are now going to add the butter and put it back in the microwave. Both will melt together. The first ingredient one adds is the sugar, then stir until it's thoroughly blended. Making brownies, unlike some cake, do not require much beating or anything. It would make it not rise. So you just get this thoroughly to amalgamate, which is pretty quick and easy. Then I throw in the cocoa, throw in the vanilla, get that thoroughly blended. Now break in the eggs. I always feel as if I'm killing the chicken when I break the eggs. Now the flour. If you're ever confused about the instruction in most recipe books that say fold in, this is what fold in does. Watch the way the spoon is moving. And now we add the 2 nuts. And everything is there. Some refreshment for the cook. This is a baking paper lined baking tray. To make the paper stick a bit, it's a good idea to wet it and then don't leave any water, but just wet it. The paper will stick to it better. Now we pour in the batter. Spread it onto the paper. It is now ready to go in the oven. Now the brownies are baked and are hot. Now, brownies are only baked a brief time, like about 30 minutes, so they stay very soft and moist in the middle, which makes them very difficult to cut up. They will crumble. My trick is to let this get completely cool and then put it in the fridge overnight. Take it out while it's cold and then cut it. You get nice, neat squares. Now, once you've given it sufficient time to chill, and you take it out with a sharp knife, you cut it into squares like this, which are very neat. You don't lose any to crumbling. They hold together. Also, brownies will keep, if you don't eat them very quickly, for about 2 weeks, just in a covered box. There's something else. It probably costs well under £10 to make the tray of brownies that I've demonstrated. If you buy them now that they become so common everywhere, the least you ever pay for a square like this is £2.50 or £3. Multiply that by 16 and see how much money you've saved. If you like what you've seen and you want any of the recipes, please address them to me, and I will gladly answer that and any other questions of cookery you may have.